the Lord moving in terms of judgment, in terms of bringing forth justice, not only for our people in hopes of salvation, but bringing forth justice in the reversal, the role reversal of our enemies. Our enemies, the so-called white man, is experiencing the things that Jake experienced for the longest of times, man. The hatred, the sinning out, the being the individual that everybody points their fingers at, being the person that everybody shakes their head at. You know, the scripture said that his tongue's going to fall upon you. Could you give me that scripture, bro?
Yeah, I got that. This is
Go ahead.
this is from the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and verse 8, and it says, so shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves.
How are they doing that? They're basically openly expressing their hatred towards the so-called black, Latino, Native American, which paints a target on the black from the Most High. They're showing you their true nature. For the longest time, they try to hide that from you and give you basically a double-faced image of themselves, man. You know, they were two people. They were when you see them at the workplace and you see them out in public, they were one individual, very kind and so whatever. But we know that in their own homes they were calling you, they were talking about you being a nigger, talking about you being sick. That nigger at work today, that speak at work today. You know, since Trump went into office, he has elevated the pride of the so-called white man. You know, for the things that he's doing and the things that he continues to do. That blatantly go
saved with that which he desired, there shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. And that's what the brother's talking about. Now everybody just leaving them there. Don't want to do deals with them. Don't want to deal with their money. Literally, like the scripture say, that garments are moth eaten, and your riches are corrupt. All the world seeing it. This is another one I got for you, bro. This is Jeremiah 49 and 15. It says, "For lo, I'll make thee small among the heathen, and greatly despised among men. Thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill." And that's what we're seeing. These devils thought they were so great. Well, if they were so great, when they kicked out all these migrants, well, they said we're low lives, criminals, everything like that. Why is your society thriving that much more? If you clicked out the worst of society, the worst of the world, why is your society collapsing? When you did it, it should have been able to proliferate at that point.
Right.
It says that holdest the height of the hill, meaning he has the best of the richest. He's at the pinnacle of society. It says, though thou shouldest make thy nest as the nest, so like though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring you down from there. So yeah,
Right. And that goes back to Revelation 17:16. They're gonna hate the Lord, man. You know, they're calling they're showing their ass to these countries and these former allies, and nobody's messing with America no more, man.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to be an ally to America. Not even their so-called greatest ally, which is supposed to be Israel, man.
Yeah.
You know, Trump just picking enemies, man. You know, Putin talking shit about it, man.
Hey, bro, that's why you have that's why you have a thing now called the BRICS nations.
Yeah.
You know, because they have departed from NATO to create their own thing, man.
Right.
You know, and that's like a huge indicator of division in the earth, and that because it says in Jeremiah, I think it's the 50th or the 51st chapter, it says that the Lord shall send against Babylon an assembly of great nations.
Right.
So the Lord has to assemble these nations, you know, to come against America, bro. And it's all, hey, bro, it's all playing out.
Yeah, get up with Dahlia 1 and 7, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Talk about it.
This is Psalms 52, and I saw that one. This is in NLT. It says, I'll bounce back and forth from KJV. NLT. It says, a song of David when Doeg the Edomite came and told Saul and said unto him, David is come to the house of Amalek. Why boastest thou thyself in mischief, Almighty man? The goodness of the Most High endureth continually. NLT. It says, all day long you plot destruction. Your tongue cuts like a sharp razor. You're an expert at telling lies. You love evil more than good and lies more than truth. It says you love to destroy others with your words, you liar. But the Most High will strike you down once and for all. He will put you from your home and uproot you from the land of the living.
Right.
The righteous will see it and be amazed. They will laugh and say, look what happens to mighty warriors who do not trust in the Most High.
Right. So they're taking they no longer, America they're not having a defensive stance anymore. They're in the offense, man. That's why they changed the name of the Department of Defense to the Department of War. They start shit. Then you know what I'm saying? That's the whole goal right there. They're out to start shit, man. You know, they're out to fuck around and find out, man.
Yeah.
That's their stance. We're gonna do this. We're gonna take what we want. We're gonna do what we want to do. We're gonna kick out the undesirables.
start saying, just like they did during the time of eugenics, that these niggas are evil because it's bred in them.
Right.
Should they have a natural affinity towards violence?
Right. They made up doctored statistics.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it, the conditions that these criminal Jake live in are conditions created by the so-called
Exactly.
white man.
Exactly.
By design.
He treats it like prison is a you could treat prison system policing as like they do with medicine, right? These are just medicines do not cure the problem. It treats it.
Yeah.
Right? We have a symptom of a disgruntled nigga that's out of control.
Right.
So the treatment is jail. Because what do they call it? Rehabilitation. Right? But the symptom of the thing that the catalyst for it all was the situations that these devils made up. And they don't want to come to grips that they're the sounds like you don't want to work. So the same people you call lazy and freeloaders, you're now they're growing and you're not picking up the jobs, but you're complaining about how hard it is to live. There's plenty of work then, ain't it?
Yeah. Hey, farms are closing down, man.
Yeah. Where all the the fruit pickers?
Yeah, where they at? Farms are closing down.
The ditch diggers at the construction sites. Where are the Edomite ditch diggers?
Right.
Where you at, man? Pull yourself up by the goddamn bootstraps.
Right. But you know what? There will be plenty of employment for you in the kingdom.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about continuous employment, man.
Yeah, there's no sick time.
Yeah, you're gonna get 1,000 years to work your ass off, man.
No PTO.
There's no PTO, not even no health care.
And HR is this brother.
Yeah.
HR right there is that brother.
Yeah.
His eyes glowing.
There's gonna be denied.
Yeah.
Denied. That all request denied. You know, denied. Denied.
Corporal punishment.
So there is a role reversal, man. You know, the everybody's hating you now.
Yeah.
I got this, man.
This is Jeremiah 50 and Jeremiah 50 and sorry 7. It says, all that found them have devoured them, and their adversaries said, we offend not. That's what you see with these Edomites. They beat down Jake, but when Jake has a complaint, they say flip the story and say, no, you're the problem. You're the ones who's destroying society. They said, and then when they do an action against Jake, they act like they didn't do anything. This is literally, what is it, the doctrine of discovery. This is a scripture that basically tells that, and these devils have used this to this day. It says, because they have sinned against Yahweh, the habitation of justice, even Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. So now they're trying to use the scriptures to sit here and be like, well, you niggas are godless. But these niggas operate in the most godless fashion. So, like the brother said, now the curse is coming back on them. They're crying. They're crying like bitches online, bro. There's nothing more healing than an Edomite falling, bro.
Right? Yeah. Now you know what it's like to be us, man. And you're really gonna know, man. And you know, there's they blow up these incidents where they have attacks. You know, where they have attacks on the so-called white man. You know, and they use that as a form to say that, you know, we're the hate group. We're the ones that be hated now.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones that are being discriminated against. Well, that's why, because the Lord said He's going to reverse the curses upon you, man. The Lord promised that. You know, and the Lord said that all of the nations are going to hate you. You know, for that. You know, nobody trusts you. Your word ain't good no more, man. You know, America's military's fading. You know, your financial structure's fading. You know, everything's fading, man. Your infrastructure's fading. You can't even repair the roads. Your social security system's fading. Your all the jobs are overseas. Your industry's fading, man. The only thing that, you know, what you're gonna do is you're gonna force everybody to take that chip, because that's your last ditch effort to have control over something that you needed control to prolong your kingdom. But the Lord said that He's gonna cut you off, man. Go ahead, Lord. You got something?
Honestly, it's true because recently, this woman that basically reported the whole Hyundai manufacturer, I think was Missouri, Minnesota, to ICE, so all of us to make American, so-called American jobs for us. And yeah, that was like, my Hyundai's like, you know what, we're not doing this anymore. We reported all of our people, they were all their trains and shit, and now like, you know what, we're pulling out now.
Yeah. Because you don't have the people here with the skills. Yeah, everybody's here fat and lazy.
Yeah.
This coming from a brother that's fat. So it's like, bro, it's like these Edomites don't have any work ethic. And now you abusing these nations and then justify it. That bitch wanted a check because she was doing bad financially. That's why she snitched. You know, she was trying to catch in on the reward for snitching. So, and then all them Koreans, bro, now they backing out. Where the chip factory's gonna come? With Intel, now that whole thing's gonna be destroyed. No jobs are gonna be there, and all those people were there illegally. They weren't being hired illegally.
Right.
Even the Ishmaelites that were there.
Right.
So these, bro, you devils, man. You want that Deuteronomy 30?
We could get that.
things.
Yes.
Says, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th, I will utter with my tongue.
Right.
A man that hath joy of his children.
And then Esau experienced that. You know, he was allowed to experience that for the longest.
Yeah.
Go, keep on going.
Says, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy.
He experienced that as well. He saw the fall of the so-called black and Native American. He conquered the Native American. He enslaved the so-called black man. He made fake treaties with the so-called Mexicans to gain the land. He used the so-called Iscorite to work his lands and cook his food and clean his houses. He saw the conquering of his enemies. So he was allowed his time of happiness, man. He was allowed his time of triumph, whatever you want to call it. You know those joys are going to be returned back to us.
And it already started.
Yeah, they're restarted, man. Just knowing that it's going to happen brings brothers joy, man.
There's a video I did a lesson on where it said the title of it where white folks are confused why black folks are complaining about the economy.
Right.
White folks are confused why black people aren't complaining about the economy. Because niggas have always been down. So now you devils are in a position where you gotta live like we have for so long, and now you're crying. That's the curse, bro. The curses are on you devils, bro. Where everywhere you go in the world, people have a problem with Edomites. It used to be that for Jake.
Right.
And that's why it says here in the
There used to be a shaking of the head and a pointing wagging of the finger.
Yeah. Even like I was watching these videos where it's like Koreans were talking about, years ago before people started traveling like that. Whenever we saw black people, we were like, oh man, they're dangerous. They felt intimidated.
Right.
But once they got to know them, they're like, yo, these people are cool. And they said the ones that you gotta worry about are the white folks.
Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you had an Edomite dude from England leave out of fucking India, he was there for like 3 months. This nigga said, I'm finally out of India, so I can say this. Don't go there. Don't go to the worst place in the world. And he wasn't just talking about the food. He's like, it's like all these people, they hate Brits. They hate them so much.
Right.
They look at you like they want to kill you. And it's like, you devils are finally getting what we got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you have a bad reputation, that's why, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a history of, like the brother said, coveting fields, colonizing, of oppressing, of stealing resources.
Yep.
You have a history of doing that, and all that's being exposed. No one's believing you no more, man. Go ahead, bro.
It says it here in Job 20 in verse, I'll start at 4, and it says, knowest thou not this of old? Since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. It says,
Who's the biggest hypocrite of them all?
Esau.
Yeah, everything he does is hypocrisy, man. You know, he's all about hypocrisy. Go ahead.
It says in verse 6, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds.
So he built his nest among the stars, right?
Yep.
Because he did mount up to the heavens, right?
You got settled, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was that top tier nation on the earth, man.
Yeah, the race for space.
Mhm.
That's what they call it. Between him and the Russians.
Yep.
Yeah, he was that top tier, man. You know, whether the space family was real or not, you know, he was that top tier. You know, in terms of military might, in terms of financial power, political power, he was once that top tier individual, man. He was reaching to the heavens. Go ahead, bro.
It says in verse 7, it says, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night.
Yeah, no one admires the so-called white man. happening. We understand that we have to go to Jacob's trouble. And they say, before his final being brought low, he's going to come down in great wrath. We understand that, man. But we rejoice in seeing the downfall of our enemies slowly but surely. We understand that we're going to go to Jacob's trouble. We understand that the devil's going to come down in great wrath. We understand that he's going to put us in prison 10 days. We understand all the persecution is going to bring upon the men of the Lord. Well, we hope, we see the end game, man. We see the prize at the end of the fight, man. Go ahead, pass on. Now, can you give me that Samuel book?
This is 1 Samuel 2:1. It says,
This is a prophecy, and it speaks about low reversal, man. And the Lord's ultimately going to bring that low reversal. We're going to be brought up high, and our enemies are going to be brought down low. Go ahead, man.
1 Samuel 2:1. It says, and Hannah prayed and said, my heart rejoiceth in the Lord Yahweh, my horn is exalted in the Lord Yahweh, my mouth is enlarged over my enemies.
My mouth is enlarged over my enemies. We can speak, we can talk about our own connection, our own status as children of the Most High. Our mouth is enlarged over our enemies. We can brag. We have bragging rights to say we are the sons of the Most High. Because we believe it. What's that in the Bible? It says he calls himself the son of the Most High. He calls himself the son of God. Speaking of.
Oh yeah, and you said this is a lot among the saints.
Yeah, so we speaking that our mouth is enlarged over our enemies. Where from?
God. This is back in 2:1. It says, my mouth is enlarged over my enemies because I rejoice in thy salvation.
Because I rejoice in thy salvation. Because we understand that salvation is only for the Israelites, and specifically for the second 1/3 the first time around. You 2/3 you wicked, 2/3 are going to come back and destroy the neck. Go ahead, bro.
Yep. 2, it says, there is none holy as the Lord Yahweh, for there is none beside thee. Neither is there any rock like our power. Talk no more so exceedingly proud.
Yeah, talk no more of seeing proud, that pride of the heart deceive thee. So he can't talk that shit no more, man. He's going to stop that proud, that seeing proud talk. Go ahead, bro.
It says, talk no more so exceedingly proud. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth.
Yeah, the heresy, the Lord's inflating his balloon, man.
For the Lord Yahweh is his power and knowledge, and by him actions are weighed.
Again, actions are weighed. The Lord's weighing the actions of the so-called white man, the Edomites. And he's bringing judgment upon that. Okay?
It says, the bows of the mighty men are broken,
Right.
and they that stumble are girded with strength.
The bows of the mighty men are broken. Their power, their military defense, all that's it's crumbling. All that's crumbling. This is
And they,
let's get something to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Daniel 5:27 says, tackle thou art weighed in the balance and art found wanting. So like the brother said, everything that these devils have done is being weighed, and you coming up insufficient with the Lord. What you've done is being put out into the open, and everybody's judging you openly. So that's how you know we're really at the end of this thing, man.
Come, by the ambassador away. Go ahead.
God, it says, back in 4, it says, the bows of the mighty men are broken, and they that stumble are girded with strength.
They that stumble are buried with strength. That's speaking about us. So we were stumbling or falling, or being that not having any type of power. But we are buried with strength. That strength is truth, man. That strength is the Holy Spirit coming upon us and receiving back our heritage, knowing that we are the true Israelites, some of the Most High. Go ahead.
They that were full have hired out themselves for bread.
They that were full have brought up themselves for bread, man. That's Esau in that lowest state. He's in poverty's way. He's going to continue to be in poverty's way. Now it's going to get better for him, man. Go ahead.
It says, and they that were hungry ceased.
They were hungry, ceased. We were the hungry. Ultimately, when we get in the kingdom, we're going to have the riches of the earth, man. We're not going to feel that trying to make ends meet anymore. The Lord's going to wipe away all our tears.
So that the barren hath 6, it says, the Lord Yahweh killeth and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. The Lord Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich, he bringeth
Make
low.
us poor, make it rich, trading places, man. Trading places. No, we're gonna have the riches of the earth, man. Go ahead.
It says he raiseth up the poor out of the dust.
That's us. He raised up the poor out of dust, out of confusion. We know who we are now, we're as Israelites, man. We know who our power is. We know who our salvation is. Go ahead.
And lifted up the beggar from the dunghill to set them among princes. And to
Take
make
it from the dunghill, from the shit pile called America, to set them on princesses. We're gonna be in positions of leadership, man. Go ahead.
It says, and to make them inherit the throne. It's like it says, and to set this around the back. It says, he raised up the poor out of the dust and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth, are the Lord Yahweh's, and he has set the world upon them.
Yeah, see that? So ultimately, the Lord's gonna give us power over the earth again, as was intended. You know, it says in, I think in Genesis, it said that nations bow down to thee. You know, talking about the promise to Abraham. You know, so that's gonna come. That's gonna come to reality, man. You're seeing the decline of the Edomite, the decline of America, and you're seeing the Lord working in the spirit of the prophets, bringing forth destruction and judgment upon this place according to the Bible.
Yep. It says,
That's about it, right?
yes. Let me jump out of the same point. It says, the adversaries of the Lord Yahweh shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord Yahweh shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength